Right now, we're diving into what is honestly the most fascinating tactical and financial puzzle in modern football. Manchester City just lost their anchor, their Ballon d'Or winner, the literal heart of their dominant system. But panic? No way. That is the absolute last thing on manager Enzo Maresca's mind right now. Today, we're going to unpack the strategy, the history, and the cold hard numbers behind how a world-class club attempts to replace the completely irreplaceable.
To really grasp the massive scale of this situation, you have to start right here. £65 million. That is the jaw-dropping transfer fee Barcelona just paid to pry the 30-year-old Spain captain away from the Etihad. Now, it's a massive injection of cash, absolutely, for sure, but it also rips a sudden gaping hole right in the center of the pitch. I mean, when a club loses a player of this financial magnitude, it sends shockwaves through the entire market. But listen, the money only tells half the story here. The real problem is the sheer legacy that £65 million just walked out the door with.
Okay, let's dive into this, because his resume is, well, it's simply jaw-dropping. We're not just talking about losing a good player here, we are talking about losing a generational winner. Just look at these accolades from his 7 seasons at the club. The 2024 Ballon d'Or winner, the man who literally just led his country to a 2026 World Cup triumph, 4 Premier League titles. Oh, and he scored that iconic solitary goal that won City the 2023 Champions League final. Nearly 300 club appearances. This exact resume is why the outside world looks at this transfer and sees an absolute 5-alarm crisis for Manchester City. Because, really, how do you possibly replace a legacy like that?
So, that brings us to Section 1, the Rodri problem, and how on earth you go about solving this crisis.
We all know what he meant to the pitch, but how is the club's management actually processing this monumental departure? Well, the answer comes straight from the manager himself. Maresca says, how do we solve that problem? We try to find the new Rodri. It is what it is. I absolutely love the tone here. While pundits and fans are completely tearing their hair out, Maresca is just incredibly calm. He's direct, matter of fact. There's no wringing of hands here. It's just a stark acknowledgement of reality and a clear, simple directive to the recruitment team. It is what it is. Now go find the next one. But you gotta wonder, why is Maresca so incredibly confident?
Well, that confidence actually comes from this exact transformation. Think about it. Before Rodri arrived at Manchester City, he was highly talented, sure, but he had no Ballon d'Or, no Champions League trophy, and no Club World Cup. After joining City's system, he won it all, the whole shebang. Maresca firmly believes that it's the club's infrastructure, the coaching, and the tactical system itself that elevate players to world-class, award-winning status. City didn't just buy a Ballon d'Or winner, they built one. And Maresca believes, deep down, they can build one again.
Moving on to Section 2. Let's look at a history of upgrades and City's evolution over the years.
Because it's not just blind faith that Maresca is relying on here, it's proven historical precedent. He actually opened up about this recently, explaining how he spent a Thursday night just, reflecting on the absolute legends who have left this club in the past. And his takeaway was crystal clear. He said, it is normal, it is change, it is not a problem. He doesn't view player turnover as some terrifying crisis. No, it's a completely expected, totally necessary evolution of a winning organization. Basically, if you don't change, you stagnate. It's a masterclass in crisis management, honestly. And it's just as true in business as it is in football.
Let's move to this timeline and see how this builds, because history proves his point perfectly. Look at the first era. The legendary David Silva departs. Everyone panics, but then Kevin De Bruyne arrives and takes the midfield to entirely new heights. Then, the second era. The iconic striker Sergio Agüero leaves. Everyone is terrified about where the goals will come from, right? Well, Erling Haaland walks through the door and just completely shatters scoring records. And the third era. Fernandinho, the ultimate defensive midfielder, steps away. Who fills that massive void? Rodri arrives. You see the pattern? Whenever a worrisome departure happens, City's recruitment historically steps up and brings in the next generational talent.
Which brings us to Section 3, the transfer window reality and navigating this crazy market.
Now, philosophizing is great and all, but actually executing deals in the chaotic final 10 days of the market, that is an entirely different beast. But when you organize the absolute whirlwind of current transfer rumors, a really clear picture of City's strategy starts to emerge. Looking at the outgoings on the right, you've got Rodri to Barcelona, Savinho to Tottenham, and Omar Marmush in talks to follow him. But look at the incomings and targets on the left. That shows exactly how you respond to a crisis. They're actively targeting a really wide array of profiles. We're talking advanced talks for Lille's Moroccan star Ayoub Boadi. Plus, they're showing interest in proven Premier League talent, guys like Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez, Bournemouth's Alex Scott, and Liverpool's Alexis McAllister. It's a highly calculated, aggressive market maneuver to ensure they are literally never left vulnerable.
So, the crucial point is, they aren't just window shopping. They are actively buying big. £115 million. That is the massive club record fee they've already dropped to sign England international Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. I mean, think about it. You don't just casually spend £115 million on a single midfielder if you're paralyzed by the loss of your captain. This proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that City is more than willing to spend aggressively to plug the gaps in their squad and maintain their total dominance.
But, it's equally important to look at how they handle their outward business. Contrast that massive incoming spend with this outgoing figure, £75 million. That's the fee they agreed upon to send Brazilian winger Savinho to Tottenham. Maresca actually made a very pointed comment about this. He noted that it obviously doesn't help when players want to leave, but the club's stance remains rock solid. They will not keep players who don't want to stay, period. If you want out, City will find a buyer, extract maximum value, like this £75 million fee, and then immediately reinvest it.
Finally, Section 4, the final 10 days, focusing on patience and profit. So, with $65 million from Rodri and $75 million from Savinho in the bank, plus a massive $115 million already spent, how exactly does Maresca plan to navigate the agonizingly stressful conclusion of the summer window? Well, he navigates it with profound patience and just a deep, deep understanding of market economics. Check out this insight from him. Probably the normal thing in the transfer window is that you have to wait until the last week because all the clubs try to keep players until the last week and then sell for more money. It's brilliant in its simplicity, really. He is entirely unbothered by the frantic nature of the final days because he recognizes it's just business. Everyone is trying to maximize their profit margins. By accepting that reality, City avoids the desperation trap and sticks strictly to their calculated recruitment plan.
So if you really want to know how Manchester City survives the sudden, devastating loss of a World Cup winning, Ballon d'Or holding, Champions League clinching captain, the answer is incredibly simple. Adapt and go again. They trust their world-class recruitment network. They understand the harsh economic realities of the transfer market, and they firmly believe in their own system's ability to elevate new talent. They simply do the right things, day in and day out, and they keep moving forward.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder as the transfer window slowly ticks down to zero. The money is there, the system is firmly in place, the targets have been identified, but the ultimate question remains. Can Enzo Maresca and Manchester City truly build another Ballon d'Or winner? Thank you so much for checking out this explainer, and we'll see you next time.